Welcome to the Wimbert Foundation Digital Inclusion Program. A strong proposal is not just well written, it is strategically tailored to the specific needs, priorities, and expectations of the client or funding organization. Generic proposals often fail because they do not demonstrate a clear understanding of the problem or how the proposed solution aligns with the stakeholders' goals. Customizing your proposal means adapting your content, tone, structure, and evidence to resonate with your target audience, making your submission more compelling and competitive. In this course, How to Customize Your Proposal, you will learn how to move beyond one-size-fits-all proposals by conducting proper research, aligning your objectives with client needs, and presenting your value proposition in a way that speaks directly to decision-makers. Whether you are writing for a corporate client, a government agency, or a nonprofit organization, customization is the key to increasing your chances of approval. By the end of this course, you should be able to analyze client or donor requirements to identify key priorities, expectations, and evaluation criteria. Adapt proposal content and structure to align with the specific needs and context of the target audience. Develop a compelling value proposition that clearly demonstrates how your solution uniquely addresses the client's problem. Module 1. How to analyze client or donor requirements to identify key priorities, expectations, and evaluation criteria. Understanding how to properly analyze client or donor requirements is the foundation of successful proposal writing. Many proposals fail not because the ideas are weak, but because the writer did not fully understand what the client or donor truly wanted. This module equips learners with the skills to carefully interpret requirements, identify priorities, and align their proposals with evaluation criteria to increase their chances of success. At the beginning of any proposal process, the most important document you will encounter is the Request for Proposal (RFP), Request for Quotation (RFQ), or Grant Guidelines. These documents contain the expectations, rules, and criteria that will be used to assess your submission. A common mistake among beginners is to skim through these documents quickly. Instead, effective proposal writers read them multiple times, highlighting keywords, noting repeated themes, and identifying mandatory requirements. This careful reading ensures that nothing critical is overlooked. One of the first steps in analyzing requirements is identifying the client's or donor's core problem. Every proposal exists because there is a need to be addressed. Ask yourself, what challenge is the client trying to solve? What outcome are they hoping to achieve? For example, if a government agency releases an RFP seeking solutions to improve youth employment, the core problem is unemployment among young people. Your proposal must therefore focus clearly on job creation, skills development, or employability, not unrelated issues like general education reform. Closely related to identifying the problem is understanding the client's priorities. These are often indicated through repeated phrases, specific goals, or emphasized sections in the document. For instance, a donor may repeatedly mention sustainability, community impact, or innovation. This signals that proposals will be judged heavily on these aspects. A smart proposal writer ensures that these priority areas are clearly addressed throughout the document, not just mentioned once. Another key aspect is identifying explicit and implicit requirements. Explicit requirements are clearly stated instructions such as submit a budget, include a timeline, or demonstrate past experience. Implicit requirements, however, are not directly stated but can be inferred. For example, if a donor emphasizes accountability and transparency, they expect strong monitoring and evaluation systems, even if they do not explicitly demand it. Recognizing these hidden expectations gives your proposal a competitive advantage. Evaluation criteria are another critical component of requirement analysis. These criteria explain how proposals will be scored and compared. They may include factors such as technical approach, cost-effectiveness, experience, innovation, and impact. Some RFPs even assign percentages or scores to each criterion. For example, technical approach may carry 40%, experience 30%, and cost 30%. This tells you where to focus your effort. Spending too much time perfecting the budget while neglecting the technical approach would be a strategic mistake in this case. Let's consider a real-life scenario. A non-governmental organization, NGO, releases a call for proposals to fund women empowerment programs in rural communities. The document emphasizes economic empowerment, measurable impact, and scalability. A weak proposal might simply describe general training programs for women. However, a strong proposal would align closely with the requirements by proposing a structured vocational training program, including measurable outcomes such as training 500 women and increasing their income by 30% within 12 months, and explaining how the program can be expanded to other communities. This alignment shows that the writer has carefully analyzed the donor's expectations. Another important step is stakeholder analysis. Clients and donors often have multiple stakeholders, each with different interests. For example, a corporate client may be concerned about cost and efficiency, while their end users may prioritize usability and quality. Understanding these different perspectives helps you craft a balanced proposal that addresses all concerns. In a construction project, for instance, the client may want a cost-effective building, while regulatory bodies require strict compliance with safety standards. Your proposal must satisfy both. Breaking down the requirements into manageable sections is also essential. This involves creating a checklist or matrix that maps each requirement to your proposal content. For example, if the RFP asks for methodology, timeline, budget, and team qualifications, you can create a table to ensure each of these is addressed clearly. This approach reduces the risk of missing important details and helps maintain a structured response. In addition, it is important to pay attention to submission guidelines. These include formatting instructions, page limits, deadlines, and required documents. Ignoring these can lead to automatic disqualification, regardless of how strong your proposal is. For example, if a donor specifies a maximum of 10 pages and you submit 15 pages, your proposal may not even be reviewed. Compliance with these instructions demonstrates professionalism and attention to detail. Effective requirement analysis also involves asking clarifying questions when possible. Many RFP processes allow for a question and answer period where applicants can seek clarification. This is an opportunity to resolve ambiguities and gain deeper insights into the client's expectations. For instance, if a requirement is unclear about the scope of work, asking a question can prevent you from making incorrect assumptions. Finally, successful proposal writers always align their solutions directly with the identified requirements. Every section of the proposal should clearly connect back to the client's needs, priorities, and evaluation criteria. Avoid including unnecessary information that does not add value. Instead, focus on demonstrating how your solution meets the client's goals effectively and efficiently. In summary, analyzing client or donor requirements is a strategic process that involves careful reading, identifying core problems, understanding priorities, interpreting evaluation criteria, and ensuring full compliance with instructions. By mastering this skill, proposal writers can significantly improve their chances of developing winning proposals that stand out in competitive environments. Module 2: How to adapt proposal content and structure to align with the specific needs and context of the target audience. Writing a strong proposal goes beyond understanding requirements. It involves tailoring your message so it resonates clearly with the target audience. A common reason proposals fail is not because the solution is weak, but because it is presented in a way that does not connect with the expectations, language, or priorities of the reader. This module focuses on how to adapt both the content and structure of a proposal to suit different audiences, ensuring clarity, relevance, and impact. Every proposal has a target audience, and that audience can vary widely depending on the context. It could be a corporate executive, a government agency, a donor organization, or a nonprofit board. Each of these audiences has different expectations, levels of technical understanding, and decision-making priorities. For instance, a corporate executive may prioritize return on investment, ROI, and efficiency, while a donor organization may focus more on social impact and sustainability. Understanding these differences is the first step in adapting your proposal effectively. Audience analysis begins with identifying who will read and evaluate the proposal. In some cases, there may be multiple stakeholders involved, such as technical experts, financial reviewers, and decision-makers. Each group may focus on different aspects of the proposal. Technical experts will assess feasibility and methodology, financial reviewers will examine cost-effectiveness, and decision-makers will look at overall value and alignment with strategic goals. A well-adapted proposal addresses all these perspectives in a balanced way. Once the audience is understood, the next step is to adapt the language and tone of the proposal. The level of formality, technical detail, and style of communication should match the audience. For example, when writing for a highly technical audience, it is appropriate to include detailed methodologies, industry terms, and technical specifications. However, when writing for a general or non-technical audience, it is better to simplify complex ideas and avoid jargon. Clear and concise language improves readability and ensures that your message is understood. Another important aspect is aligning the proposal's structure with the audience's expectations. While many proposals follow a standard format, such as introduction, problem statement, methodology, timeline, and budget, the emphasis placed on each section can vary. For example, a donor-focused proposal may require a strong emphasis on impact, monitoring, and evaluation, while a business proposal may focus more on deliverables, timelines, and cost savings. Adapting the structure ensures that the most important information for the audience is highlighted. Customization also involves aligning your value proposition with the audience's priorities. A value proposition clearly explains why your solution is the best choice. For instance, if you are pitching to a government agency concerned with public welfare, your proposal should highlight how your solution benefits the community, improves efficiency, and ensures accountability. On the other hand, if you are pitching to a private company, you may focus on profitability, competitive advantage, and operational efficiency. The same solution can be presented differently depending on the audience. Let's consider a real-life scenario. Suppose you are proposing an ICT training program. If your target audience is a corporate organization, your proposal might emphasize how the training will improve employee productivity, reduce errors, and enhance digital transformation. However, if your audience is an international donor, the same program would be framed in terms of empowering unemployed youth, reducing poverty, and creating sustainable livelihoods. The core program remains the same, but the presentation is adapted to suit the audience's priorities. Storytelling is another powerful tool for adapting proposal content. Different audiences respond to different types of narratives. Donors and nonprofits often appreciate human-centered stories that demonstrate real-life impact. For example, including a short case study about a beneficiary who gained employment after training can make your proposal more compelling. In contrast, corporate audiences may prefer data-driven stories that highlight measurable outcomes and performance improvements. Visual presentation also plays a role in aligning with the audience. Charts, graphs, and tables can help simplify complex information and make the proposal more engaging. For a financial audience, clear budget tables and cost breakdowns are essential. For a technical audience, diagrams and workflow charts may be more relevant. However, it is important to use visuals appropriately and not overload the proposal with unnecessary graphics. Cultural and contextual factors should also be considered when adapting proposals. Different regions, organizations, and sectors may have unique expectations and norms. For example, proposals submitted to international organizations may require adherence to specific formats, terminologies, or frameworks. Understanding these contextual factors ensures that your proposal is not only relevant, but also culturally appropriate and professional. Another key strategy is flexibility in structuring content. While it is important to follow any prescribed format in the RFP or guidelines, there is often room to add just how information is presented within those sections. For example, you can prioritize key messages at the beginning of sections, use headings and subheadings for clarity, and ensure a logical flow of ideas. This makes it easier for the reader to navigate the document and quickly identify important information. Consistency is equally important when adapting content. All sections of the proposal should align with the chosen approach and audience focus. For instance, if your proposal emphasizes sustainability as a key priority, this theme should be reflected in the problem statement, methodology, budget, and evaluation plan. Inconsistencies can confuse the reader and weaken your credibility. Feedback and review are essential steps in ensuring that your proposal is properly adapted. Before submission, it is helpful to have someone review the proposal from the perspective of the target audience. This can help identify areas where the message may be unclear or misaligned. For example, a technical expert may point out gaps in methodology, while a non-technical reviewer may highlight areas that need simplification. Finally, adapting proposal content and structure is not about changing your core idea, but about presenting it in the most relevant and compelling way for your audience. It requires empathy, strategic thinking, and attention to detail. By focusing on the needs, expectations, and context of the target audience, you can create proposals that are not only well-written, but also highly persuasive. In conclusion, the ability to adapt proposal content and structure is a critical skill for successful proposal writing. It involves understanding the audience, adjusting language and tone, aligning structure with priorities, and presenting information in a clear and engaging manner. With practice, this skill enables proposal writers to communicate effectively across different contexts and significantly improve their chances of success. Module 3. How to develop a compelling value proposition that clearly demonstrates how your solution uniquely addresses the client's problem. A compelling value proposition is the heart of any winning proposal. It is the clear statement that explains why your solution is the best choice among competing options. While earlier modules focused on understanding requirements and adapting content to the audience, this final module brings everything together by teaching you how to communicate your unique value in a persuasive and memorable way. Without a strong value proposition, even a technically sound proposal may fail to convince decision makers. At its core, a value proposition answers 3 key questions. What problem are you solving? How are you solving it? And why is your solution better than others? These questions must be addressed clearly and concisely. Many proposal writers make the mistake of focusing too much on describing their services without linking them directly to the client's needs. A strong value proposition shifts the focus from what we do to how this benefits you. The first step in developing a compelling value proposition is to clearly define the client's problem. This requires a deep understanding of the client's pain points, challenges, and desired outcomes. For example, if a company is struggling with declining sales, the real problem may not just be low revenue but poor customer engagement or ineffective marketing strategies. Identifying the root problem allows you to position your solution more effectively. Once the problem is clearly defined, the next step is to present your solution in a way that directly addresses it. Your solution should be specific, practical, and results-oriented. Avoid vague statements like, "We will improve your business performance." Instead, provide concrete details such as, "We will implement a targeted digital marketing strategy that increases customer engagement by 40% within 6 months." Specificity builds credibility and makes your proposal more convincing. Uniqueness is a critical element of a strong value proposition. You must clearly explain what sets your solution apart from competitors. This could be your methodology, experience, technology, team expertise, or innovative approach. For instance, if you are offering an ICT training program, your uniqueness might lie in your job placement support, industry partnerships, or hands-on learning approach. Highlighting these differentiators helps the client understand why they should choose you over others. Another important aspect is demonstrating measurable value. Decision makers are often interested in results that can be quantified. This includes metrics such as cost savings, revenue growth, efficiency improvements, or social impact. For example, instead of saying our solution is cost-effective, you could say our solution reduces operational costs by 25% within the first year. Measurable outcomes make your value proposition more tangible and persuasive. Let's consider a real-life scenario. Suppose you are bidding for a contract to manage a company's customer service operations. A weak value proposition might say, "We provide excellent customer service solutions." In contrast, a strong value proposition would state, "We will reduce your customer complaint resolution time by 50% through a combination of AI-powered support systems and trained personnel, leading to improved customer satisfaction and retention." The second statement is clear, specific, and outcome-focused. Emotional and logical appeal also play a role in crafting a compelling value proposition. While data and metrics appeal to logic, storytelling and relatable examples can create an emotional connection. For instance, in a proposal for a community development project, you might include a story about how a similar initiative transformed the lives of beneficiaries. This helps the client visualize the impact of your solution. Clarity and simplicity are essential. A value proposition should be easy to understand and free of unnecessary jargon. Decision makers often review multiple proposals, so your message must stand out quickly. A concise and well-structured statement is more effective than a lengthy and complicated explanation. Think of your value proposition as a headline that captures attention and communicates your core message. Positioning your value proposition strategically within the proposal is also important. While it is often introduced in the executive summary, it should be reinforced throughout the document. Each section of the proposal, whether it is the methodology, timeline, or budget, should support and strengthen your value proposition. Consistency ensures that your message remains clear and impactful. Another key strategy is aligning your value proposition with the client's evaluation criteria. If the client prioritizes innovation, emphasize the innovative aspects of your solution. If cost-effectiveness is a major factor, highlight how your solution delivers maximum value at a reasonable cost. This alignment shows that you have carefully considered the client's priorities and tailored your proposal accordingly. Collaboration and credibility further strengthen your value proposition, including evidence such as past successes, testimonials, case studies, or references can build trust and confidence. For example, if you have successfully completed similar projects, mention the results achieved and how they relate to the current proposal. This reassures the client that you have the capability to deliver on your promises. Let's look at another scenario. Imagine you are submitting a proposal for a government-funded youth empowerment program. A compelling value proposition might state, "Our program will equip 1,000 unemployed youths with in-demand digital skills and secure job placements for at least 60% of participants within 6 months, using a proven training model and partnerships with leading employers." This statement clearly defines the problem, presents a solution, highlights measurable outcomes, and demonstrates uniqueness through partnerships. Testing and refining your value proposition is the final step. Before submitting your proposal, review your value proposition critically. Ask yourself, is it clear? Is it specific? Does it address the client's problem directly? Does it highlight what makes us unique? Seeking feedback from colleagues or mentors can also help identify areas for improvement. In conclusion, developing a compelling value proposition is a vital skill in proposal writing. It requires a deep understanding of the client's needs, a clear presentation of your solution, and a strong emphasis on uniqueness and measurable value. By combining clarity, specificity, and strategic alignment, you can create a value proposition that not only captures attention, but also convinces decision-makers to choose your solution over others. We have now come to the end of this course. Thank you.